I was very lucky, and Pete Docter read a script I wrote and liked it and asked me to come up to Pixar. And we had a very long, wonderful lunch in which he started talking to me about this idea he had about emotions inside of a 11-year-old girl's head. And we got along very well. And, I work very hard as a writer to figure out what the director wants. It's his movie, it's his creation. I, of course, have to bring myself to it. But we just got along very well. And so from there, we started writing together. Inside Out 1 and 2 are incredibly challenging to create. All stories are challenging to create, but this was particularly challenging because it's incredibly complex. We need to appeal to have a great story, have fun, lots of laughs, but like every Pixar movie, be digging to something authentic and real, and that feels very personal to us and to our filmmaker, Pete Docter, and in the second movie, Kelsey Mann. So the way you do that is you do a lot of versions, many, many, many versions. I think I wrote 1,000 pages minimum. The versions, you tell the story many times in animation. So sometimes we're just trying to make it clear. Does this make sense? The next time we're trying to say, I don't feel anything anymore. Now we have to go back to the emotions. So it's a very long process of iteration. And your guiding star is always Joy as our main character and what her journey is and how that speaks to the director's emotional theme. It's interesting, in Inside Out 1, there was a real concern for a little while that kids wouldn't understand the movie, that it was too complex, there was too many things going on. So we did a special screening of employees' kids, and the truth is they understood it better than the adults because they're very close to their emotions. They don't judge them, they just are. So it works very, very well for kids where they are. And I think that's what I love about Pixar, and particularly Inside Out, is you see it at what development level you are at. So when you're a kid, you're going to see all the fun, and really start to intuit something deeper. As you're a teenager or middle schooler, you're going to start seeing it differently. When you're a parent, you will see it completely differently. Joy is a parent. You will see it very differently about you and your child. So that's what I love about it, is can go from kind of Looney Tunes, pratfalls fun for kids, all the way up to any age, kind of identifying with that kind of human experience. I think the job of the storyteller is to speak something authentically from your experience of being a human being. And if we're very, very brave and very, very specific about our own experience, it can ripple out into the world if only people don't feel alone and feel, I feel that too, I've had that experience. So education, I think all stories are about connection. In terms of, does our film actually educate? It's not something that when you're creating it you think too much about because it'll make you crazy, because it's too many things now, too many balls in the air. But it's very gratifying the way Inside Out 1 and 2 have gone out into the world and are really supporting a way of communicating, a way to talk to children about emotions, emotional intelligence, so many different levels that are moving into the world. As a matter of fact, my son, who's in college, said he was out. You can cut this if you need. My son, who was in college, said he was out for dinner with friends, and one of his friends said, well, I think one of my core memories is, and he's like, that's not a thing. My son was like, my mom made that up. That's not a thing. So some of the things that you see in the movie are just a writer desperately trying to figure out how to make a story work. But I'm pulling from my own authentic experience, and it feels right. And of course, we check with the professionals and the researchers, but always you're pulling from what it feels like for you to be human, a being in this world. And core memories felt true and real. It's so gratifying that Inside Out 2 has been such a success. When you're making it, you really can't think about that. You literally just have to think about telling a great story. I do think it's impacted people and been such a success because anxiety is on the rise in our culture, and I think it's not something talked enough about. And especially because I think that we tend to think of anxiety as something you need to get rid of, but it's not. It's something that is there to help you. She can have very bad plans about how to do that, for sure. But I think self-acceptance and self-compassion are also a beating heart in the movie. So the movie itself is created from the director, Kelsey Mann, who had a personal experience with anxiety, especially at this age. I also had anxiety, still have anxiety, as a part of my character. I'm learning, though, this movie has taught me to appreciate her a little bit more. We all did research for Inside Out 2 with the professionals. They talked all about emotion. We talked to people who deal with girls and anxiety specifically. We talked to an expert in self-compassion. Then we also always have to go to ourselves and our experience. And we had a third thing, which is Riley's Crew, which is a bunch of, it was like 8 or 10 girls from the age of 12 to 16. And they saw every version of the movie and they gave us notes. They let us know if we were being true to it, not true to it, if it felt authentic to them. So that was very, very helpful. And again, ultimately, any story, your goal is authenticity. So it can be hard and feel daunting. But I think that we did do our very best to be honest and not back away from harder topics. I will also say that some people think that the emotions are negative. I don't think there's such a thing as a negative emotion. I think that's your judgment about it. All emotions are there to help you. What you do with that is up to you. But so, for example, envy is just telling you what you want. And that's incredibly important for teenage girls to know. What do you want? And envy's there helping you figure that out. I came into Captain Marvel with Nicole Perlman. We were teamed up to write together, which was honestly, for me personally, the best part of writing Captain Marvel. I got to meet, and Nicole's now a good friend. Live action is different from animation in that animation, you're working with storyboard artists, you're working with artists, and you're making the movie many times. In live action, you're alone in a room. Nicole and I, alone in a room, figuring it out. We, of course, had Marvel executives giving us feedback and helping us along the way. But they're both the same in that they come with expectation. There's already been some very, very good ones from Pixar and from Marvel. So sometimes you can feel the pressure of that. And again, you have to kind of take a deep breath and say, what's the best story? Is this the best story? And that's all you can do as a writer. There is 10 years between the two movies, just about. Not planned. It was not planned to take 10 years. Pete Docter, the original creator of Inside Out, went on to do other movies like Soul. He's also now running Pixar, so he was very busy. And at Pixar, if you want to do a sequel, you don't just get to do a sequel. You have to find an idea that is sequel-worthy, that feels complex enough, fun enough, that it would be worth to make another movie. And it was Kelsey Mann, the director of Inside Out 2, who came to Pete and said, I have an idea. What if anxiety hijacked Riley's mind when she turned 13? And talked a lot about himself at 13 and what that felt like. And Pete thought, yeah, that idea is sequel worthy. Go see if you can get it up on its legs. And that's when I came in to work with Kelsey on it.